A team we thought that might be sellers early in this season are now buyers. The National Predators made a second forward addition before the NHL Trade Deadline, and that is Jason Zucker.
The Locked On Podcast Network presents the NHL Trade Deadline.
Hey there, Rachel Donner from Locked On NHL. I am here with Ann Kimmel from Locked On Preds. And the Nashville Predators just acquired veteran forward Jason Zucker from the Arizona Coyotes for just a sixth round pick with zero salary retained, meaning the Preds will take on Zucker's full $5.3 million cap hit for the remainder of this season. And let's break this down because so many of the deals at this year's trade deadline have involved a third party and salary retention. How have the Predators been able to manage the cap so they could do this and give up basically nothing?
Yeah, the Predators went into this season with a lot of draft capital and with a ton of cap space. And so Barry Trotz really, the world is his oyster right now. You know, he is able to kind of wheel and deal. They do still have a space available for salary retention for the Predators, which Barry Trotz may tinker with as the day goes by in one of those third party deals you're talking about. But for the Nashville Predators, this deal for Jason Zucker really is a win-win. There's very low risk, low cost, and could potentially be a player who jumpstarts something for the Predators down the stretch and maybe even into the postseason.
Yeah, the Preds are sitting in the top wild card position in the West, and they're actually in a really good spot right now, given their recent success. Some other teams have some games in hand, but where they are divisionally and how the wild card is, they're in a really good spot. And Jason Zucker was a guy who had a long career with the Wild, some years with the Pens, with some great success. When he signed with the Coyotes, everybody said there was like a giant billboard saying "Rent me" at the deadline, and the Preds were the ones lucky enough to get that right. So, is he a rental? A and B, like where does he fit in the Preds lineup?
Yeah, I do think probably he is a rental for the Nashville Predators right now, but I think he's a really interesting addition at this point with the Predators. You know, Nashville's talked about, hey, we're in a reset. We want to give these younger players a chance. And yet people are like, well, then why are they bringing in a 32-year-old guy to, jump in at this trade deadline? But I do think that this addition is going to be beneficial to some of the younger players because I think where Barry Trotz wants to see Jason Zucker fit in is kind of in that middle six depth scoring place. And the Predators have a couple of young players like Luke Evangelista, Tommy Novak, even a player like Cody Glass, who they know are really good playmakers, but they're also pass first guys. And so what you really want to bring in is somebody who is going to shoot the puck, somebody who is a finisher. I know, statistically maybe this has not been the best year for Jason Zucker. He's dealt with some injuries and things like that, but this is somebody who's had 5 20+ goal seasons. So you've got a shooter who I think is going to help you understand what do you have in these younger playmakers as well. I love this move.
Yeah, I think he's a really good player that has the veteran experience and leadership to kind of help these guys through the first playoffs for a lot of them. And I think that he also is a guy that does step it up in the playoffs sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think he has a little bit of edge with the finesse as well. All that experience on the Pens, I think, really helped him along those lines.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love what you're saying about, the playoff experience. I don't think anybody expected Nashville to make the playoffs. They are, certainly well on their way to earning a spot in the postseason. But I think it's a really important postseason for the Predators, not because I think they're going to make that deep Stanley Cup run, but because you are going to get postseason experience for these young players on the team that absolutely you have to be there. You have to walk through the postseason. Everything is a little bit different. The level is higher, the stakes are higher. And I think to bring on veterans who have been through that really will benefit some of these younger players on the roster as well. So I really like this move. I know it's a move that has a lot of people kind of wondering, what are we doing here? But I think the veteran presence really is a big addition. And I think depth scoring will help the Predators down the road as well.
Well, it sounds like a plan. We'll see how it goes, and if the Preds make any more moves this trade deadline. For more on this deal, be sure to tune in to Locked On Predators for free on your favorite podcast app and over on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.